Joint military exercises between the U.S. and South Korea are now underway, just hours after President Donald Trump ordered the Pentagon to substantially scale them back. In a social media post announcing the change, the president cited his positive relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, saying the drills send a signal that is, quote, inappropriate and hostile to North Korea. The president also cited Seoul's lack of assistance with Iran, saying he recently asked South Korea's president if they'd like to join the, quote, denuclearization of Iran, and they said no. So here to break this all down, CNN's new Seoul correspondent, Gage Goulding, following all these developments on the Korean Peninsula. He's moving there in a few days, but right now joining me here from Hong Kong. But Gage, let's talk about this because, as you know, this isn't the first post over the weekend from President Trump. He also shared a photo of himself and Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, leading up to this announcement.
Yeah, well, a lot to unpack here over the last couple of days. Let's start here. This is the post that was made yesterday. Obviously, kind of a mean mugging picture there, but the president saying, despite the unfamiliar or unfriendly look, they're, having a great relationship. And I think that kind of teed up the post that came today, where essentially the president is saying that, hey, I'm not a fan of these annual exercises that are going on, calling them totally inappropriate and hostile. And, it's very interesting because the president said it, quote, is in fact too late to cancel, but I've instructed the Secretary of War to substantially reduce the joint military exercise. And then also in the same post, he kind of talks a little bit of a dig on South Korea there about, hey, can you help us with the Iran war? And according to the president, South Korea says, no, thanks. So there's a lot to unpack there. But let's talk about this exercise that's ongoing right now, Operation Ulchi Freedom Shield. It's essentially an annual exercise that happens during the summertime. 18,000 Korean military members join the some 23,500 U.S. Service members that are based in South Korea. Kind of a wartime preparedness. This specific go-around, if you will, was going to have a lot of modern warfare aspects, drone warfare, GPS jamming, things of that nature. Now, it's important to note that previously, during President Trump's first term in 2018, 2019, he scaled these back, and then COVID-19 scaled that exercise back in 20 and 21. It returned to full strength in 2022. And last week, North Korea said of the exercise, quote, it's a rehearsal of an aggressive war, and they were openly opposed to it. And then over the last 2 weeks, they've launched 2 ballistic missiles. Now, they've not acknowledged it, but the consensus is that it's kind of a stance against this operation. So kind of some aggression, some tension there, obviously, on the Korean Peninsula. But, Will, as you very well know, you've covered North Korea extensively. This is an interesting kind of opening of the arms from President Trump, kind of maybe looking at a welcoming of some sort of summit, something he's not had during the second term and something that he had on multiple occasions during the first term.
Yeah, you have to wonder if, given the big mess happening in Iran, if President Trump wants some sort of an easy diplomatic win with the North Koreans and a photo op with Kim Jong-un like the first time around. But, it's interesting. The North Koreans have always been, said that these military drills are hostile, Gage. And yet, at this very moment, North Korean troops are gaining real-life experience by helping Russia in their war against Ukraine. And now the United States and South Korea is supposed to be scaling back their own training?
Yeah, it's very clear that South Korea is a U.S. ally, and, it's not unknown to the world that U.S. and North Korea are not allies. And at the same time that the president is scaling back wartime preparedness, because that's essentially what this exercise is they're preparing for war, specifically with North Korea, right? That's what's been going on for years. So at the same time, they're saying, hey, let's pump the brakes on this. You have tens of thousands of North Korean troops that are aiding Russia with the war against Ukraine. They're out there fighting. They're getting modern warfare experience. Like I just said, drones, jamming of GPS, and so all those different things. The troops on the North Korean side are doing that right now. On top of that, North Korea having the opportunity to test their ballistic missiles against Ukraine while aiding Russia. So it's kind of a very catch-22 in that situation. You have the North Korean troops that are getting more experience. Meanwhile, the U.S. and South Korean troops are taking a back seat here. Whether it comes down to cost, whether it comes down to trying to get a diplomatic win or open some sort of conversation with North Korea, that's to be seen. As of right now, this operation has been starting according to the South Korea Joint Chiefs of Staff. The operation started as planned. It's going to go on for 10 days. We'll have to see if they do truly scale it back. But at this hour, Will, we have not received a comment from North Korea.
CNN's Gage Goulding, live in Hong Kong. Thank you.